Freeing the waist. This exercise is really about looking at this region of soft tissue between the hips and the ribs and freeing it up through a basic physical exercise. This is not really an exercise for learning how to use the waist, although it will contribute to this. There are more precise mechanics in a lot of the internal arts that involve the waist being connected through the hips, through the knees, into the feet and all of this. So it's not this isolated way of working, but it can be nice to use this exercise to first of all just free the lumbar a little bit, free the soft tissue in the belly, and basically just open up the possibility of rotation through this region. We need to keep a couple of things in mind. I want to keep my alignment points reasonably strict as I'm doing this exercise. And I need to know the difference that if I have my alignment points in place and I rotate, I won't be able to rotate nearly as far as if I violate the alignment points and then can turn all the way around. One, if I violate the alignment points, it'll feel like I'm kind of twisting my spine up, which is not really what I want with this exercise. I want to more feel like the torso is a cylinder, like a balloon, and that the whole balloon is having a spiral put through it, you know, like one of those kids tying balloons, done in a way that it doesn't cinch, right? If I turn it too much, it kind of collapses one bit and gets very tight, which is how they make the balloons, but it's what I specifically don't want to happen here. I turn just until the whole region has an even twist on it, and that's far enough. If I keep the alignment points sincerely and I turn sincerely, then I will run into all of my tensions, which is what I want. Each time I bump into the tension, I highlight it, I have a chance to listen to it, and by extension, it has a chance to release of its own accord. So keep that in mind as you do this. The setup is to use all the alignment points, which are in another video, so just go watch that video for the real details there, but the feet forward and the weight distributed evenly, the knees are released, the hips are sinking, the chest is sinking, the shoulders are spread and relaxed, the elbows are heavy, the wrists are released, the center of the palms are open and the fingernails are lively. Oh, and the neck is open. From this position, I want to turn the chest to one side without the hips following. That's very, very critical for this particular exercise. I turn the chest, I don't turn the hips, just to the side, and then I release that back to the center, and then I do it the other way, and I release it back to the center. I want to start doing this reasonably dynamically, and at the same time, I want to feel my arms heavy and loose with open palms and lively fingernails. What I'll start to get is, you see as I turn and I release, my hands naturally want to follow the exercise. And I'm going to keep doing this until I can move fluidly from side to side without going past my alignment points. I keep the hips open and released. They are not moving with the exercise. The only thing moving here is my rib cage, which is forcing all the movement to happen around this soft tissue area. The hands, I don't want to be too collapsed. I want the hands to be open through the palms, the fingernails lively. But otherwise, the arms are very heavy. They're like heavy ropes hanging to the side. I'm not at all driving this movement through my shoulders, through my arms. Take a look, I'm not doing this. This is the arms moving and the chest not moving at all. I am doing this. I release the arms, they're heavy, the hands are open, and I turn the chest from one side to the other. One of the other common things that happens here is as we turn the chest, we lift it to help it turn more. Remember, one of the cues is to keep the chest released and sunk. If you keep that, you won't be able to turn nearly as far, but that's fine, that's what we want. Once you've got the hang of all of that, and you can perform the movement roughly like I'm showing here, then we can also isolate the head. I keep the head facing in the same direction as the hips, and just let the ribs and the chest box rotate in between a stationary head and stationary hips. What this is going to do is make the waistline, the soft tissue between the ribs and the hips, and the neck, all this tissue between the ribs and the head, have to be open and free and mobile. It can be really good to do this in a mirror and make sure you're not getting any of this kind of like subtle turning of the head where one ear shows and then the other. I need to really lock my head straight forward and have no movement at all of the head. No movement at all of the hips, only a turning of the chest box. What will drive this will change as you become more open and more released. So of course, once you're familiar with the exercise itself, continue the exercise, but you can go through focusing on each of the alignment points like we did in the standing practice. So I can go to the neck and just pay attention to the neck. I can keep the shoulders inflated. I can just focus on the chest being sunk. I can focus on the hips being open and the quad released down. I can focus, on all different parts just to make sure everything's in order. Then at some point, I just want to continue the exercise and drop into my listening mode, just listening to all the things I'm discovering in my body, listening to the tensions I'm bumping into, listen to all the things that are turning and getting wrung out by this exercise, and continuing it for 10, 15, 20 minutes. I had one student do it for an hour to help with a rib problem. It worked really well. She was also in her mid-70s. And then come back to the center and really just pay attention to this region between the ribs and the waist. Just letting the mind rest the attention there. Let the mind kind of drain into the area. And just let all the new sensations that have come from doing the exercise float into the awareness. I may feel all sorts of strange things. It's all good. Things may start to release even after I finish the exercise if I take some time to listen. And I listen for however long I want. And then when I'm done, I can close the exercise in whichever nice way I like closing. Take a moment, and then we're done.